Hello and welcome to Find Your Voice, where we interview thought leaders from our community at Podcast Guesting Pro. I'm Cassandra Welford and today I'm joined by Scott Ayscough. Scott is the founder and Managing Director of Valuecom, a UK technology consultancy helping organisations regain control of complex transformation, technology strategy, operations and cyber resilience. As a former signals soldier who served within NATO headquarters, Scott has spent more than 2 decades leading technology operations and major transformational programmes across government, healthcare, utilities, aviation, transport, and enterprise environments. He is also the author of Politically Exposed Technology and the creator of PET Transformation Framework, a practical model that helps boards and executive teams explain why transformations lose control and restore governance, accountability, and delivery confidence. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hi, Cassie. Thanks.
Fantastic. We're really looking forward to getting to know you and hearing more about your expertise. And I would love to start by asking a bit about your background and what specific experiences in the Royal Signals shaped your view on technology operations and their control and accountability.
Yeah, okay. I think working in the Royal Signals in NATO headquarters out in Germany, as I did for 4 years, fundamentally shaped how I think about technology, operations, governance and accountability. Everything operated within a controlled framework, from signing on in on shift to carrying out maintenance, to replacing the equipment, to answering the phone. So everything was a process, or you had to do things in a certain way. There was a hierarchy within the environment. Everyone understood their roles and responsibilities, what they needed to do and how they needed to do it. We had, at the time, operational links back to Bosnia, Kosovo, out to Whitehall, very senior people on the end of those calls. We had to restore links very quickly when things failed. So we all needed to understand what part we played in being able to bring that together and restore those links, because ultimately they were live operational environments on the end of those. So, lives could be at risk if they weren't able to communicate to the right people at the right time. So, that's looking back, the environment taught me successful operations are rarely the result of individual brilliance, if you like. They're the result of clear process, strong governance, disciplined execution, and a shared understanding of purpose amongst the team and the people who are operating in those situations.
Wow, it sounds like an immense amount of responsibility. And like you say, it has to be like a set process and shared purpose. I like that. And when did you first realise that major technology programmes often fail because organisations lose control, not because the technology itself is wrong?
Yeah, I think I realised this through programme recovery and operational recovery work that I've done over the years. When I was brought into struggling environments, I rarely changed the technology and I rarely changed the people. What I changed was the environment in which those people and technologies were operating. I found that the technology was often capable and delivering the required outcomes. The people were usually hardworking and knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. The real issue was the organisation had lost control. Now, what I mean by that is the governance was unclear, accountability was fragmented, stakeholders were not aligned, decisions were being made too slowly or not at all. Over time, I noticed some patterns repeating itself. Delivery problems were being treated as the cause, and they were actually symptoms. The root cause almost always sat elsewhere. Once governance and accountability and visibility and alignment were restored, the same people with the same technology often started delivering very different results. So that is why I say most transformations don't fail because of technology. They fail because organizations lose control, and that's the control of the environment that they're creating for the people and the technology to succeed.
Yeah, and that kind of overlaps with the next question about why do some teams perform exceptionally well under pressure and then others struggle despite having capable people?
Yeah, it means that even highly capable people will struggle to succeed in an environment around them that's not designed properly. Most of the people I meet in transformation programs are experienced professionals. They understand their specialist area and genuinely want the program to succeed. The problem is often not capability. The problem is uncertainty. If people do not have the vision, if they're not, they don't know who owns decisions, if responsibilities are not clear, if governance is inconsistent, or if priorities change constantly, then performance deteriorates, not because people are less capable, but because the system has made success very difficult for them. So the military taught me that people from all walks of life can perform exceptionally well when given clear structure, accountability, training, and purpose. The same principle applies in transformation. Good systems create clarity, clarity creates confidence, and then confidence enables performance. So before replacing people in leaders, you should first ask whether you've created the conditions for people to succeed within that environment.
Yeah, really valuable guidance there. And what would the warning signs be that a transformation has been deployed, but it hasn't actually been adopted?
So the difference is not usually capability, it's having that clarity, as I said in the last question. So high performing teams understand the mission, understand their role within, understand how decisions are made, the trust, the governance around them, because it provides certainty during periods of pressure. In struggling teams, people often spend more time trying to understand what is happening than actually moving work forward. They're unclear on priorities, unclear on ownership, unclear on how issues should be escalated. I don't know if I just repeated the same question.
That's perfect. And you've created a framework called the PET Transformation Framework. How did that emerge? And how does it work?
Yeah, so the framework emerged from recognizing the same patterns across multiple recoveries, regardless of sector, technology, or supplier. I kept seeing the same issues: weak sponsorship, poor governance, misaligned commercial incentives, architectural drift. So fragmented accountability really across the program or the environment. Technology was rarely the primary problem, as I've said earlier on in sort of our conversations. Over time, I realized that successful transformations consistently demonstrated four characteristics. They had strong political alignment, so with the key stakeholders. They had clear governance and authority. They had effective commercial structures for suppliers, and then there was robust architecture. So all of the designs were known in advance. So people knew what they were deploying within those programs and held to those designs. So those observations first, they became the first four domains, if you like, of the PET transformation framework, and thinking about things in a slightly different way to how you would ordinarily. Framework was not created in a workshop. It was created through years of seeing what causes organizations to lose control and what enables them to regain it.
Perfect. And you've also published a book. Could you tell us a little bit about the book and who would be your ideal reader to pick that up?
Yeah, so the book was really a bit of a personal journey, if you like, just to try to understand why I personally was able to recover programs and projects in very large enterprise organizations where they'd had large consultancies try to do that beforehand, sometimes for up to a year. So it's really thinking about, what skills and experience did I have, and what domains, as I've just been through, did I used to, when I used to go into these environments, think about, and how I used to operate and how I used to change those environments and situations, as we've said. So it's a bit of really a personal thing, just to go through that. But in doing that, I saw that I had quite a lot of information, and then I decided, well, maybe this would be useful to others within the industry. I've seen very experienced people that when certain programs, and I call this sort of capability depth across a program, when you're governing across all of these, you've got lots of stakeholders in a business, maybe up to 50 senior people. You're facing off to lots of operational directors across a number of different functions. And then you've got 70, 80 people in a program team. You've got 3 other consultancies that are working for you. You've got 10 suppliers that you're bringing together to do outsources or run technical pieces of work for you. It becomes very, very complicated very, very quickly for everybody to stay up to date with what you're trying to achieve, for you to continue to focus on the outcomes, to have everyone driving towards the same goal, and ultimately to generate those benefits for that business. Is a very, very complicated situation to be able to manage end to end. So this is a way of trying to bring all of that together in under those 4 domains, to think about it in terms of the environment and the people and how you bring those things together, which not a lot of people actually talk about or understand or discuss with one another.
Perfect. And we will share the link, but would you like to share where your book is available for anyone that's thinking, I need to get my hands on this.
Thanks, Cassie.
So is your book available on Amazon, Scott? Is it?
It's available on Amazon, yeah.
It's on Amazon, perfect. And for leaders running transformations today, what are the 3 most important things that they could do to regain visibility, reduce risk, and improve control?
So I think number 1 is it always starts with your political alignment, understand your stakeholders, understand what the business is trying to achieve, make sure you've got a clear vision for people to align behind. Understand what the outcomes are and ultimately the benefits that are going to be produced by that, because everybody within a business that you're deploying something into on a big program, there needs to be something in it for them, really. And one of the key things is also to make sure that you align that vision to the company's strategy, because in periods of where people don't understand things in these big programs, or the benefits don't seem to be coming quick enough, it's really important that you anchor these programs to the strategy of the business, so that when the tough questions come, and when senior people are involved and have to make decisions because lots of money is being spent on these particular large programs, it needs to be anchored in that strategy of the business and how it's going to help drive that business forward in the future.
Thank you. And would you like to share with us an example of a client testimonial? You don't have to mention any names, but just an example of someone that you've worked with and then the positive transformation that they have achieved.
Yeah, I mean, a recent one is a healthcare company, large healthcare company that was doing some work for. They had a program that was running in AWS in the United States, and they needed some help with the transition and transformation going into the business. Valuecom came in to help them write all of the service manuals. This is a high grade medical environment, if you like, which needed to have very high grade SOPs, what they call service manuals, to be able to operate within that medical environment, if you like. We also accredited that environment to ISO 27001 for that particular customer, so that they could then sell those services across the US and the UK, but then could also bid for wider, larger contracts that required that level of governance, if you like, and authority.
That's amazing. And what has inspired you to use podcasting as a method to get your message out there and reach even more people?
I think for me, it's just the interaction. So it's good just to have a normal conversation with people. I think it brings out the best in you. It's very difficult to make videos yourself, if I'm being honest. Sat in your office by yourself making videos is probably not the easiest thing to do, if you like. So yeah, having a normal conversation and hopefully giving some visibility and hopefully sharing with people as well some experiences, and hopefully people they might be experiencing those experiences now, and this may help them in that situation or in that program. Under the pressures that I've discussed earlier through the questions that we've answered, it's sometimes quite a lonely place as a leader of these types of programs. People are looking to you for answers, and it's very complex, as we've touched on throughout this interview.
Thank you. Well, we're really looking forward to continuing working with you, Scott, but I would love to close by asking, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, I think if they go to the Valuecom website, they can connect through these many different contacts or buttons that you can click on, which will come through ultimately to Valuecom. But yeah, if you go to www.valuecom.it.com, you can see some of the works that we've done on our newsfeed. Then you can have a look at our service pages as to how we could help you if you need any help with your IT transformations.
Perfect. And we will add your links below this episode for anyone that's interested to reach out and connect. So we would love to wish you all the best with your continued success, and we look forward to continuing working with you, Scott. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Cassie. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for listening.